of frequency. Adverbs of frequency. Adverbs of frequency shows how often something is done. And I love this particular adverb. Your understanding of this particular adverb will not only help you to write well and better, but also help you to understand people better. It is important. So we adverb of frequency often show how something is done, from something very frequently, which is always, to something not done at all, which is never. So the question that adverbs of frequency answer is how often. How often does this action happen? Or how often did this action happen? Let's look at the list of adverbs of frequency. Let's look at the list of adverbs of frequency. Let's look at from the one that is telling us about that is used for things that happen all the time or a lot of time. That's always. Always is 100%. We can have nearly always, very often, usually, often, frequently. I always take a shower in the morning. I very often take a shower in the morning. I usually take a shower in the morning. In fact, usually is not the same as always. Always is the peak. That's 100%. It means for 365 days in a week, you take a shower. It means for 365 days in a year, you take a shower in the morning. I regularly cycle to work. I sometimes cycle to work. I regularly cycle to work. I sometimes cycle to work. I occasionally cycle to work. These are used for things that happen some of the time. Do you understand? Let's look at other category. Look at this. I rarely eat dinner after 10 p.m. I hardly ever eat dinner after 10 p.m. I almost never eat dinner after 10 p.m. I never eat dinner after 10 p.m. Never is what? The 0%. These four groups, they are used for things that happen very few times or at all. So if you see that when you understand this, there are some situations that some people will just say, I always come to school at 8 p.m. They just say, I always come to school at 8 a.m. Are you sure? Always means every damn time. 100%, 100% of what? Of times. Do you understand? So you have to be sure. So make use of these words. Use usually. Use often. Use occasionally. Use hardly ever. Don't just stick to just one word that you know that you are not even using correctly. How do we form it? Adverbs of frequency usually go between the subject and the main verb. Now, this one is kind of different from all the other adverbs that we've explained. How we say some can be at the end of the sentence after the verb. This one comes between the subject and the main verb. Look at this. I always watch TV at night. It is coming between I, which is our subject, and watch, which is our verb. She is rarely late for work. She is rarely late for work. Okay. Now, let's talk about adverbs and expression of adverbs of frequency. Let's talk about adverbs and expressions of frequency. Frequency can be described with more precise expressions. Unlike adverbs of frequency, this must sit at the end of a phrase. For example, I often go running. Often is an adverb of frequency. I regularly go running. I hardly ever go running. But we have precise frequency expressions. I go running 5 times a week. You can say I often. I go running every Tuesday. I go running once a year. So you cannot say I 5 times a week go running. No, 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 no. Please take note of that. How do we form question about frequency? How often is used to ask about how often someone does an activity, while when is used to ask about the time or day it is done. That's why we said adverb of frequency answers the question how often, while adverb of time answers the question when. How often do you go? How often do you go away? I usually go away once a year, probably on a vacation. When do you go running? I go on Thursday night. You can see the specificity there. Further examples. How often do you go to the beach? Not very often. How often do you see your friends? All the time. When do you go to the gym? On Tuesday and Fridays. When does your family eat dinner? At 6 p.m. every night. We are going to talk about some other adverbs, some other adverbial words, but please, this is different from adverbs of frequency. But I am just putting this with adverbs of frequency because I do not want to record a separate video. So let's talk about so and such. You must have seen these words before. So and such are adverbs which can be used with certain words to add emphasis. They are similar in meaning, but they are used in different structure. Unlike most adverbs, such can be used before a noun to add an emphasis. It can also be used before an adjective and noun combination. For example, look at it. The trial was such a success. Such, that is the arrangement, such, a or an plus the noun. Such a or an is more common with extreme nouns rather than neutral nouns. It was such an important experiment. That is, we can use it with adjective too. Important is an adjective. Let's look at so. So can be used before an adjective or an adverb to add emphasis. The reaction is so dangerous. The surgery went so well. Do you understand? So we use it before an adjective or an adverb, not before a noun. So is never used on its own before comparative words. Let's also look at so much. So much is used before a comparative adjective or a comparative adverb to add stronger emphasis. The hospital is so much cleaner than that other one. You can see. Diseases spread so much faster as a result of air travel. Diseases spread so much faster as a result of air travel. You don't say diseases spread so faster. No, 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 no. Now, there's another arrangement that you need to know. The more reason why that last sentence, why we cannot have diseases spread so faster as a result of air travel. The explanation is in that tip. It's never used on its own. You don't have to use it. But let me tell you how so is used. Now, so and such with that. That can be used with so and such to introduce a particular result caused by the fact emphasized. The disease is such a mystery that, so take note, such and what, that. The disease is such a mystery that it doesn't even have a name to show emphasis, right? This is such a strange injury that it is hard to diagnose. We can also use so with that too. Medical research is so expensive that drugs are often costly. He recovered so quickly that he was able to go home next day. So that so collocates with what? With that. The new treatment was so much effective that he felt better the same day. Hospitals are now being built so much more quickly that people can be what? Treated. Take note of that. Another adverb we are going to quickly talk about is enough and too. Enough is used when there is correct degree or amount of something, while too is used when something is more than necessary. Enough, that is, you have the accurate or the correct amount of something that you need, but too when you already have more than necessary. So how do we use it? Enough can be used after an adverb or an adjective to show that it is the right degree. This house is big enough for us, just the size that we need. She isn't speaking loudly enough. I can't hear her. Let's look at further example. This food isn't hot enough to eat. That is not to the degree that you want. Remember, we are still talking about the adjective. The traffic isn't moving quickly enough. Quickly is an adverb here, right? My bag is big enough for my book. I didn't read the instructions carefully enough. Are you getting? And not enough can be used to talk about quantities of countable and uncountable nouns. Enough comes before the nouns. For example, do we have enough balloons? Balloons are countable. We have only 2. That's not enough. Do we have enough food? That's also correct. We have these snacks. That will be enough. Now, let's look at too plus adjective and adverb. Remember, we said too is when you have something more than what you wanted or what is what necessary. For example, that meal was too big. I'm so full, more than necessary. The bus is going too slowly. I'm going to be late. Let's look at further examples. Further examples. In winter, my house is far too cold. Far and much can be used before too for emphasis. My coat is too big for me. Don't go swimming in the lake. It is too dangerous. Joe takes her job much too seriously. Please, not too much seriously. Much too seriously. Jessica talks far too quietly. I'm never on time for work. I always wake up too late. We can also use enough and too with an infinitive clause. To infinitive to state whether something is to the right degree or the extent for that infinitive clause to happen. Is this mango ripe enough to eat? Yeah. Yes, it is ripe enough to eat. No, it's not ripe enough to eat. No, it's too ripe to what? To eat. I do hope you get value. So we have come to the end of this lesson on adverbs of degree and some other forms of adverbs that we have. I do hope you understand and you got value from this lesson. Don't forget to drop your sentence examples in the comment section. Drop any questions that you have to, and most importantly, share this lesson and also subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you and see you in the next lesson.